Hi, everybody. Um, just regarding these short talks, they're basically following what I'm reading in Scripture during my daily Bible study. So, the last couple of nights, I've been dealing with Titus, short book, 3 chapters. Um, and there's lots of stuff in here about church dynamics. Titus was a worker for Paul. He was mentored by Paul. And Paul had sent Titus to be the pastor of a new church plant on the island of Crete. And it was a new church, and the area was rough. The island of Crete at that time was um, a mining community and shipping and that kind of thing. And the highbrow Greek and Roman culture hadn't really gotten hold of Crete. So a lot of the other cities and so on that Paul had planted churches in were, highly educated, highly cultured areas. Um, Crete wasn't one of those places. Uh, so because of that, it was kind of a rough community, and Titus had his hands full with these people. And Paul talks about the reputation of Crete, and he says that Cretans are always liars, evil brutes, and lazy gluttons. Now, that's a little uncomfortable for me because I've been called those things as well. Uh, I'm a bit convicted, but the grace of God is poured out in my life, so that's important. But I feel lucky in that um, my church, you guys are pretty a pretty good bunch of people and easy to pastor, uh, and put up with my browbeating and that kind of stuff. But I want to deal with a particular passage here. Um, Paul says to Titus, remind the people to be subject to rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready to do whatever is good, to slander no one, to be peaceable and considerate, and always be gentle towards everyone. Even at the best of times, churches are subject to power struggles, personality conflicts, people who, uh, by their nature, sometimes even just want their own way and are critical of anybody that's in authority over them. And when I started here talking to the leadership, one of my mantras as far as leadership goes is if you can't learn to follow leadership and authority, then you shouldn't be given a position of power and leadership and authority. Uh, and the reason for that is that it becomes very quickly abusive. And abuse of power is something that goes on so often in the church. It's a little bit hard to understand. Um, when it comes to Titus, Paul Paul is Titus's authority. So it's Paul that sent Titus to Crete, and it's Paul now that Titus is in Crete. Paul is telling him, here's what you need to do. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to act a certain way and so on. And so Titus is somebody who is submitting to the authority that's over him. Um, and you notice that Paul, in many of his letters, is always dealing with opposition um, from all sides, but internally. Many of the churches are struggling with authority issues and people who chafe under the authority of Paul. And so Titus is told to be firm. The next passage, the next verse down says, rebuke them sharply so that they will be sound in the faith. He doesn't just say, get mad and beat them with a stick. There's a point to it, and that's that they will grow to be sound in the faith, that they will be motivated. Now, I don't think this just applies to church, and I know it doesn't. Paul elsewhere, and Jesus himself, says that we need to submit to the authorities that are over us. So at a time when persecution is heavy, there's still the demand that we respect the powers that are in place. The government, we're supposed to pray for them and follow them and be respectful of them. And Paul uses the word peaceful and considerate. And he says, slander no one. And this is important because, the internet, I see things on the internet about, the authorities with the COVID and all this stuff. They're stupid. They don't know what they're doing. And I think we have to be careful about how respectful we are to those people who we disagree with. We're fine to disagree with people. We're allowed to disagree, but we're allowed to be. We're told to be respectful in that and to submit to the authorities that are over us.